So hello, I see a lot of faces I've seen before, a lot of faces I see around passing in the hallway. My name's Spencer Waddell. I'm one of the personal trainers at ICC Cougarplex right now. I'm also a student. Hi, good to see you. I see some of you in my fitness walks. I'm going to school for physical therapy, so this is really kind of a hand-in-hand thing. So eventually in my long game, I think about teach people how to get in shape, and then when they hurt themselves, you send them to me for physical therapy, and then I take them back to get back in shape, and if they hurt themselves, it's a revolving door. But
So physical therapist?
Physical therapist is what I'm shooting for.
Gotcha.
So yes.
You have a master's for that.
Oh, it's a doctorate now.
Doctorate.
Yeah. So unless you're doing physical therapy assistant, I've seen it. So we'll actually go to the most part. So Restrain the game is what you're here for, but I will say a little bit about me. So like I said, I'm working for physical therapy, my degree at ICC. Right now they have a pre-med program that you're working on. That's 2 years first, then after that it's either 4-year, or depends on how long completion-wise. So it's a ride, yay, it'll be all right. It's something I really enjoy. As I said once before to some of the people I was talking about, I just recently started my own business called Trinity Fitness and Physical Culture Incorporated. So I was in the Air Force from 2004 to 2008. I met a lot of different cool friends, and that's when I first learned. I was like, wow, fitness is cool, but I'm working on planes. I was a mechanic on C-130s, which was fun. It was really cool. I was stationed over in Germany. I got to see a lot of the world. I went to Kuwait for a little bit. It was nice, really hot. It was really crazy to see a scorpion walking across the desert, and you're like, haha, I want to go back home. but it's okay. And one of my friends who still stayed in, he's not allowed to say exactly where he is, but he's overseas right now. And he was talking to me before and said, hey, are you still wanting to do a business? I wanted to help a local business I know. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I can tell you some friends. He's like, no, I would like to be a angel investor where we expect nothing of you. He's like, I'll give you whatever money it is to start your business so you can get started. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? Brian is the name. Are you sure? Brian's like, yeah. I know that you put things in, you do the best you can, you'll help people eventually, and you'll get to where you want to be. So I said, thank you. So between me and my wife, and she's like, oh, we can't start a business right now, or you can't start a business right now, because it'd be scary and stuff. I'm like, hey, I want to start somewhere. I started looking at LegalZoom. They started doing all the rigmarole, and it just went through last Friday before I did a self-defense seminar, because I also do martial arts and stuff. It went through, and now I have my own business. Now, I'm not worried about revenue yet, because everything comes with time, but now when I work at ICC, I'm still always work for ICC. I'm not trying to steal people away. I'm not trying to do things there. But there are some things where people are like, hey, can you give me a fitness plan over online? Or, hey, I'm moving away from this. I'm like, sure, you can go to my website, which I don't have up yet, but that's my plan to do things. It's opposed to differently than some guy in the corner being like, hey, you want to buy a fitness plan? I got this, and I'm like, oh, no, actually go to my website and actually make me a little bit more legit. So, like I said, I've been working as a personal trainer for now 3 years. I started out at Planet Fitness. It was a nice time. I got to meet lots of people. They're, not to talk bad on Planet Fitness-wise, they have a really affordable program that's open 24 hours, but they were a little bit more on quantity over quality. They didn't teach people about nutrition, about these things. You can teach someone to lift out like Arnold, and you can be as strong as Arnold, but then if you eat 5 pizzas and 3 cheeseburgers when you get home, you're not going to look like Arnold. I'm not saying you want to, but you're just not going to get the results that you want. So I would take the time and say, hey, we need to teach them about nutrition. They're like, well, that's not what we're doing right here. So I was like, okay, I'm going to look elsewhere. But that's what I'm working on. Then I was lucky enough to meet Liz, and I slowly got my programs there. I teach Tai Chi, so I've been doing martial arts for about 17 years of my life. I'm 32 now. It's something I've always loved as a little kid. It's been fun for teaching people self-confidence, protecting themselves. And in Tai Chi, the more mindset is about learning balance, and it's slow, low impact. A lot of people think it's only for older people. I try to teach the kids it's for everybody. There's so many different aspects you can do. We have a class Monday, shameless plug. We have classes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 in the morning till 9:15. We're looking on doing another class maybe around 4:30 to like 5 something for people getting out. But I think it's a lot of fun, and we're starting to do other things. And like I said, U.S. Air Force veteran. So today we're here for learning how to restrain the game. So you look at all these things, you're like, whoa, why did they put all these acronyms and different things on the board that are carried? I don't understand. And some of this I shamelessly borrowed from one of our old personal trainers, Evan, who from one of his clinics, I don't know if you saw before, but he had this one and didn't have what they all meant. So I'm like, that looks confusing. I know what they mean, but I look at that and I'm like, that looks like some kind of DNA plan. So basically the equation for metabolic equation is basically total day energy expenditure. Your rest equals your resting metabolic rate plus your thermic effect of food, and then the energy expended is what your total day goes by. We'll break this down. So basically, your BMR is your basal metabolic rate the amount of calories you needed to maintain organ functions or consciousness throughout the day if you were just sedentary. So if you were just to eat these calories and just by walking to class, doing your work, you're still going to burn off calories. Where we get in trouble as humans or just we see things and we eat things all the time, but then we're not burning it off. However, in that mindset too, some people eat under calories. They were like, well, I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm only eating, people say 12,000 calories, 1,300 calories. Whereas I'm like, that's way too low. You need to actually get your calories up there. Almost everybody should be around 1,800 to around 22. Just like what we do, just going out, getting out of bed, just working out, not working out, like just doing things. That's what your body needs to function. By being at that amount of calories, you're actually at a deficit, and that will help you lose weight. But you can't shoot way under. There's this like kind of middle zone. Later, we're going to talk about MyFitnessPal or also MyFitness apps. It seems tedious to count calories or food logs. Or I have this one book that I put Superman on because I like Superman, and I've had this book since how long was it? Sorry, I should look this up before 2010. And granted, it's been a lot of pages. Sometimes I fall off the path, I fall on the trail, and I get back on. But I can always go back and look at my workouts, what I've been doing, see how far I've come, seeing how far I've fallen, and also work on getting back on track. So a fitness log being pencil and paper, just a MyFitness app, but we'll get that a little bit later. But that's about if you're really trying to get down and lose weight or just keep track, it makes sense to actually write things down. So once again, we get back to, there are many calculators online that estimate this, and this is accurately measured after 8 hours of sleep and 12-hour fast. You think, 12-hour fast? No, but you think about, you eat breakfast when you get up in the morning, or maybe if you work out, then you have a lunch, and then later you have dinner around, let's say, we're all busy people. Sometimes it's anywhere from 5 o'clock to maybe as late as 8. Most of the time before then, we're probably not eating something. So from that time, that's when your fast starts. And then we go to bed. And then when we wake up and we're supposed to have breakfast, like eating one of those 3 meals a day is least important. But then there's other diets where you're eating, depends on what you're eating, you eat whenever you're hungry. But for the most part, breakfast is breaking your fast. So that means you stop eating from dinner to where you eat in the morning. So that's your fast being broken. So what's that? Oh, and if you have any questions, please let me know at any time. You don't have to wait till the end or try to remember. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Are you going to have this available in a handout or online?
Yes, so what we can do with this is also a little shameless plug. I will be able to give you my cards, my business cards that have my actual email. I'll say, hey, just give me your name. And once again, I will not give your email to anybody else. This is just for my records and that part. I'll also let you know if you do wish for any training or just anything in the future, just knowing what's going on. But I'll be like, oh, cool, thank you very much for coming to the seminar or the clinic and talking about this. And I will send you this. And I'll also send you just some nice YouTube videos. It's like there, but nothing like, I'm not gonna just throw it all the things like, now since I've got your email, I can send you all, no. They're like, oh, because once again, I still work here and I am a student as well, so I know retribution is like a boomerang. You gotta be careful to come back. Yes, sir?
Question regarding the fast part.
Sure.
I work second shift. I start at noon,
Mm-hmm.
I go to lunch at 4 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and then I get off at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the time I get off work at 8:30, I am hungry again.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm going home. My wife a lot of times will fix dinner. There's some left over,
Yeah.
so I end up eating 4 meals per day.
Yeah.
If I wanted to try and do something better than what I'm doing when I get off work at 8:30, is there better types of foods that I should be eating? Because I do go to bed about 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is perfectly fine. I understand third shift and second shift is hard. So that brings up a good point. It's not, even though we talked about the 3 basic meals that we learned, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks, other thing wise, even if we have to break up into 4 meals, as I've been going through school and seeing things, you learn that there is more than one way to skin a cat, forgive any skin, or cat fans or friends. I love cats too. But there's a lot of things that contradict each other. So honestly, it's find out what works for you and then watching what you're eating. And when you're eating, that's not so bad. Because honestly, when I'm working really hard and I'm really sticking to my diets, I honestly eat something before I go to bed, or I eat a meal replacement shake right before I go to bed, because your body's still acting. This is all on this, you're thinking that you only need 2,200 calories or 2,400 calories. That's what we're sticking to if we're not working out. So that's a good question. I can give you some more information later, and we'll also touch on some of those topics, but that is a good question. I'd really like to help you with that in the future.
Cheerios.
What's that?
I eat Cheerios.
Cheerios are good too. Yeah, once again, the grains, and some people get into, low on, it helps with the cholesterol. Even though it's a carbohydrate, carbs are not bad. Again, that whole thing where carbs, gotta cut all the carbs out. Not the fact. The carbs turn into sugars that our body uses for other working out or any kind of metabolic movements. So a lot of times when people think about carbs are bad, or I'm always eating, talk about like garlic bread all the time. If you had garlic bread every single time of the day, all the time, then yeah, it kind of sticks with you. It's hard, especially if you're not working out. Because if you're working out, honestly, as long as you're hitting those food groups and doing things, you can really put whatever you want in your body as long as you're meeting those macros. And by macros, I mean proteins, your carbohydrates, your fibers, still your fats. Once again, like fats aren't a bad thing. So there's all different things, kind of tips and tricks you can do. So when we get about this part, especially resting metabolic rate, it's not as stringent as the BMR that we were talking before. It still just talks about your resting metabolic rate. So basically, if you were doing nothing, your body's still burning calories to keep your organs and everything warm, to keep your body working, to keep your brain functioning. It's still burning calories. So then we get into the TEF, which is thermic effect of food. Foods cost energy to digest and process. That's why when people talk about celery, they're like, celery is one of those things where they're not saying it's worse, but it's mostly fiber, it's water. You're still getting some vitamins, but for most of it, it's fiber, water, and yeah, pretty much that part. So it takes your body more energy to get through it and process it because you're not getting a whole lot of caloric intake. So it's foods like that as well. 10% of we're talking about your daily use of energy. So it's different for the proteins. Once again, you get actually 20 to 30% of the calories ingested from proteins. You actually get to use it, and it takes to break it down. So that's why when you have a protein-rich diet, we'll just use myself. So in spring, I was 285 pounds. Then I was like, wow, this is the heaviest I've ever been. Once again, not comparing myself to anyone else, just my story that I used. And I was like, I want to get back down. I want to get back to what I was at. So now I'm at 249. It's by watching my diet, still getting in working out. Even though people are like, well, Spencer, you're a personal trainer. I'm like, I've seen many personal trainers that are not the best at actually training. Some of them have great knowledge, but then you look and you're not sure. It's like, do as I say, not as I do. It was just one of those things where I wanted to be a better spokesperson for myself and also kind of a calling card to help myself. And I understand that it's not easy. It was hard. I had to make adjustments. So right now, I'm a late night person to where if I had any of my druthers, I do my homework, I stay up to 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and now I'm like, oh, I was gonna try to get a workout in at 5 a.m. Doesn't happen. It's really, really hard. Or eventually you can do it for a while, but then you're gonna crash. So now I'm like, oh, I gotta get to bed at 9, I get to bed at 10, I gotta set up my meals and do things beforehand. So I grab my lunchbox, I get in the gym, and I'm ready to go, and then I help people. And then I go to homework, and then I do my schoolwork and my papers. So it's all right. So protein is the order, so that's one that takes the most energy to get rid of your proteins. Then your carbs, and then fats. And once again, fats are not bad. We do need fats. I think it was more during the 1990s to 2000, there's a big fat scare where everything was fat-free, fat-free, fat-free. But that was, once again, for people that are not working out. You need fats for your body to work. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have fats in your yogurts and in a lot of things you use. Cheeses are good. You can't always eat cheese, once again, but 2 or 3 servings a day isn't bad as long as you keep your servings different size. Whole foods cost more than highly processed foods, and that's in money and also in as far as for your body to digest them. So that's why they cost a little more. So once again, we talk about thermogenic foods, like anything with capsaicins, spicy foods, that helps thermogenic capabilities. So that's why spice in your food is actually good. It can help your body burn a little bit more fat. If you ever look at any kind of fat burners, they say there's extract of black pepper, paprika. They have some other capsaicin fruits and some other scientific words that mean pepper or thermogenics. And it's really funny when you start looking at things. And you're like, oh, that's what that means. So you mean I could just get a hot pepper and then add this stuff? I'm like, yeah, but you should buy this. I used to work at GNC for a year too, and I learned I learned a lot of things. So it was interesting, weird rolling back. After I got out of the Air Force, I didn't want to work on planes. I worked at Victoria's Secret for a year, also interesting job. Worked at GNC for a year, did security, worked at Walmart, and that's when I figured out I worked at the Red Cross for 2 years taking blood, and I really liked the medical field, but I didn't want to do that. And that's when I decided I want to be a physical therapist, because I like helping people, like the medical field, and I also like nutrition. But I don't like selling things, because I tell people the truth. And they're like, why are you not making so much money this time? I'm like, because I told them the truth. All you need is a multivitamin, this and this. Like, but that's not you're not getting bonuses off that. It's all right, that's fine. So that being said, pounding around huge amounts of thermogenic foods is little use, so don't drink canned pepper protein shakes all the time. That won't necessarily help you, but it's not bad. So we go back to energy expended, the last part of our little equation. It includes non-exercise activities, exercise in excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, meaning like after you work out. When we talk about, hey, let's go do some cardio at the gym or let's get some stair stepping. Granted, either sometimes I have people do some weightlifting beforehand, and people, especially, not to say just only females or men say they don't want to bulk up, but sometimes females will be like, well, I'm not trying to gain a lot of muscle. I'm like, by lifting these few reps of this stuff, you won't gain Arnold weights before, but it's a common misconception that a lot of people would say sometimes. So honestly, doing your leg workouts on the machines or doing your arm workouts, that will help your body burn fat as you go along. And then we go and get some cardio in, and that'll help when we're going on too. So it's also with the toning and burning there. And the intra-exercise and post-exercise energy demands count towards this as well. So intra-exercise is basically taking some supplements at the end, like just a protein shake, or just eating a chicken breast after you're done working out. That's a post-exercise thing. Your body's like, oh wow, I tore these little muscles. They're not ripped and shredded, but I've torn them, little micro tears, and now I'm gonna put nutrients back in them. That's what helps you get bigger, helps you get stronger, helps things to just repair yourself. So that being said, now we get into the nitty-gritty. What are your goals? And I don't mean asking like everyone, what's your goal? What's your goal? And then more just thinking in your mind, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? Because too, we don't put people out there. Everyone has their own reasons for doing things, but it's something you can think about. What are your goals? Are you trying to fit in your old clothes? I know that was me, honestly, some parts. I still have some high school clothes, and my wife's are like, you have these size 32 something. I'm like, I'm gonna get back into that. And then later I was measuring my waist, and this part like, no matter what, I will never fit those 32s again. So I guess it's all right to take those waist, but those 36s, I'm gonna get back into those. Is your doctor saying you should use a few pounds? Doctors are always saying that no matter what. Even myself, I go to the doctor and they're like, do you have a lot of muscle wise? And of course I'm like, yes I do. But because my BMI is off, but I was like, after a while I was like, oh wait, that is, because first I was worried. I'm like, maybe I am. I'm like, no, it's muscle. BMI is not the best thing to go by. It's different for every person. Yeah, horrible. Body mass index lies. You want to improve your quality of life. This is just not to get sentimental wise, but you want to see your friends' kids grow up. You want to see your kids grow up. You want to see your grandkids grow up. Just looking towards the future, something you want. This is another reason you get in shape. And then still, granted, a meteorite can fall out of the sky and just, then you have to be, and we don't think about that, but we can do only what we can control. And that's still having fun, eating things we enjoy, moderation once we learned as kids, but then sometimes if we want to get ahead of where we want to be, there's some work we have to put on. One of my friends, my friend Evan says all the time, for people that get discouraged, I have one young man, not gonna say his name, he's now gotten morbidly obese. This person's like, I really wanna get down to this. And he's like, we're only losing 2 pounds a week. I'm like, my friend, it took you years and years to put this on. It's gonna take a while to get it off. And of course, saying that to a person, they're like, oh, that makes sense. But sometimes they're like, but I don't want it to. And you're like, I'm sorry, there's no special way around it. So that's another reason. Then also, so if you are happy to participate in the Restrain the Game Challenge, I have a sheet that you can look over. It's basically ICC is doing, you weigh in anytime before Halloween. We'll see what weight you're at. You pay $5 for that first time, and then we'll come and weigh you in at certain times. We'll talk about it a little bit later during this, but that would be another reason maybe you want to lose weight. So we'll go over that. We'll come to back that. So what is your plan? Once again, people talk about either eating right, but then they want to know what is eating right. And there's other resources you can use. After we get finished with this seminar, I can give you my email, and then you can talk to me and we can get more into that. But right now we're just talking about ways to help you restrain the gain, not going over all the education, but we'll help you on that part. So getting a plan. MyFitnessPal is a great part of a plan. Do you guys know what MyFitnessPal is, or have you heard of that? Okay, gotcha. So, and it doesn't have to be MyFitnessPal, it can be any kind of calorie counter. Do you use it? Yes, it seems like a hassle. You're like, I don't want to put in what I'm eating every single time. I don't want to do this. Granted, after you put it in once, it'll start keeping track of it, and then you can just put it in again. So it's really, really good.
I like that one over like the Fitbit.
Sure,
Because
sure.
the Fitbit loses all your stuff and you have to end up putting it back in again, whereas the FitnessPal is better.
Definitely, and then it becomes more, once again, that written log. It's so you
Yeah.
can see what you've
But
been
I
doing.
didn't like having two different things.
No, and that's the part, it stinks because Fitbit is really a good system for as far as seeing what energy you've done. And MyFitnessPal is better for keeping track of what you're doing. And then you can still write some things in, but it doesn't keep as much. I think it's more important to keep track of your diet opposed to what you're working out on, even though it's good to see, because it's like gamification. It's like a video game. It's like playing a little board game. You're like, yes, I made 10,000 steps today. It's a gratification thing. It's nice. And then why not using it, especially if you want to be serious about getting in shape, it lets you know where you're at, where you're going, where you've been. Even if you're just doing it for a month at first, and then trying 2 months just to get an idea of how many calories you need to be intaking. Because once again, we talk about, I have many people at Planet Fitness say, oh, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm at 700 calories a day. Or, I kid you not, I'm like, that's way too low. No wonder your body's confused. It's holding on to things, it's not sure, you're not going to be equalizing itself. It's just, that's not a good way to go about it. And that's why some of the people say, well, I got to eat all these calories, and then if I work out, I need to eat more calories. I'm like, your body needs all that to put it back into it. The great thing about MyFitnessPal as well is if you put on, it'll say what kind of, are you sedentary, are you active, are you up and around, are you super active? It will keep that calorie count already thinking about that. And when that calorie count that it comes up with, let's say 2,400 calories, it's already subtracted how many calories to stay at. And it will only let you lose up to 2 pounds a week, as you know. And so if you just stuck to that and make sure you're actually putting in what you are eating and saying that, you will lose weight. It's the one things where we're like, we don't forget about, or we do forget about, oh yeah, I did have a bag of Doritos, or I did have this, I didn't log it. That's when you start saying, oh, that's why it's not sticking with it. But it seems like magic, but it's not.
It does tell you too that your calorie intake's too low.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You're putting in for the day.
And that's one of the hardest things, especially with, I'll say, some of the males that want to get stronger and they're working out really, really hard doing stuff. I'm like, nah, you got to put it back in. And then you got to put it in some part as protein. You're like, well, I can't eat that much. I'm like, you can. You have to be smart about it. And it's not, I mean, I'm a poor college kid. So for me, once again, my protein that I'm supposed to put in for my 249 pounds, I'm supposed to eat 200 to 250 grams of protein a day. And I don't get to that all the time. I maybe get to 200 if I'm lucky. That's why meal supplementation, such as protein shakes, like the ones that, Aldi's has a great one, $13.99 a tub, 19 servings. Each scoop has 30 grams of protein in it. So 2 scoops, that's 60 grams of protein. And it tastes pretty good. Granted, it has sucralose in it, which is not horrible, but it's not sugar, and that's why the sugars are low. There's still all, we can talk about sometime research-wise, sucralose and all these other things, but that's not bad. Then I eat tuna, and then I go and get pinto beans, and like the dried pinto beans, and I'll put them in a little crock pot. There's ways to go about it, but it takes time.
That was protein powder you were talking about?
Yeah, protein powder. That one's, it's their brand at Aldi's. They have a chocolate and vanilla. It's a Millville brand, which is actually made here in, or packaged here in Illinois. I think it's Latvia, which sounds like someplace in Russia, but but it's a really good for macros, and it's really inexpensive, and it's pretty solid. I like that one a lot. I wish they gave me sponsorship for it and would give me free stuff, but it's good. So now we get to some of the tips and tricks. According to the Food and Brand Lab, a non-for-profit research facility in Cornell University, eating on a 10-inch plate instead of a 12-inch plate can help you cut your caloric consumption by 22%. So now this is, once again, it's not like, well, if I lose that much by this, now let me get a little teacup saucer. And like, no, because then you'll be like, I can't fit anything on here. Now you just ruse. But it's that taking time when you do get your meal, you're still drinking water with it, talking, especially when we get into Thanksgiving, when we get into Christmas time, taking your time and going through and drinking your water, help fill up your stomach. And then when you're like, time for seconds. And you're like, I feel all right. I don't really need seconds this time. Also, having a wingman or wingwoman to help you keep accountable during the holiday season, it's hard. I know I go to see some of my family, especially in Georgia, a little bit down south, where the wives are like, you're so skinny, you need everything. I'm like, no, I got plans, I'm trying to get like this. I'm like, you seen The Rock? I'm gonna be the new Rock. No, I'm just kidding. And they're like, right. But it's all about helping you be held accountable and not them pushing on it. And if it's easier to have let's call it a partner in crime going into this, be it your brother, be it your brother-in-law, some sister-in-law, sister, saying like, hey, I need you to have my back whenever I say I don't want to eat much more. So people, because it's easy, we're all peer people, we're like, oh, I can just have one more, I can have this. Also, keeping your hands busy at dinner parties. I don't know for you, those who drink libations or who don't, or even if just a little winter punch, or having big tall glasses, that seems like you have a lot more drink longer, that's a little thing. Also just taking your time and having that in your hands so you don't, if you're near the buffet table and you're there talking on this stuff and then you keep on going to stuff, you're like, I gotta get away from the buffet table a little bit. Also, plate portions. Sorry, it's at the bottom for those of you who can't see. Another just rule of thumb to help you stay on track is they're like, okay, half the plate, I'm gonna try to get greens and vegetables. Yeah, it's hard, that wise, but if there's salads, there's other greens you like, all right, that's half my plate. Not always all the time. You try to get close. Sometimes it becomes more of a third, but you're trying to go for half a plate. The other 25% proteins, your turkey, your chickens, everything's there. And then the last one, that's your anything else. You want that little piece of pumpkin pie, you want something else there, that's great. And that helps you, opposed to, Thanksgiving, we're like, I have my one meat tray, and then I come back for seconds, and then I have my one other ones, and then the last one's my whole dessert tray. So if you go every time, if I'm gonna have some dessert, I'm gonna actually have a little bit more protein, or I guess you say, if you don't eat your meat, you don't get any pudding. I think that's how it went. Yeah, you gotta do that. And not last but not least, but we're getting into almost towards the end. Fun winter activities. Just because we're enjoying time with our families and doing things doesn't mean we don't have to be sedentary. We can still be active. Ice skating. I mean, I'm really horrible at ice skating. I think I'm a pretty good athlete, but I will fall down all the time, and it's horrible. See little kids skating around me, they're like, ha ha. Anyway, so I stay away from that. And now, once again, so that's your activity. If you're 160 pounds, that's what you'd be burning wise. And if you're 120 pounds, 200 pounds, that's what you'd be burning per 30 minutes, roughly. So if you weighed more, you're gonna be burning even more calories. It only goes up. I just put that there. Snowshoeing, which you have your snowshoes and you're going across the snow, sledding, snowmobiling. It's low, but you're still steadying. You're still with your core. Tobogganing, basically the same thing as sledding, but it's different. Sounds cool. Downhill skiing and shoveling snow. So if you're ever like, wow, I did have 2 more pieces of pie, I should go shovel the snow. I should go shovel in the yard. And then it'll make you look like a really good person, because then you're not going to your neighbors and shoveling snow. They're like, oh, thank you so much. Like, this isn't about you. I'm trying to lose weight. It's all about staying in shape. So those are just some things you can think about. And then snow angels, I didn't write down how many calories that is, but that actually does burn some calories. Once again, I was telling my little cousins, I used to do that as a kid. Now I'm just like, that's cold. And then they make me do it, and I'll get out there eventually. So stay active. So this is back to the Restrain the Gain challenge. So we have our weigh-in before this time. You pay $5 the first time, and you weigh in between Halloween, or October 15th, which is already started, between Halloween. See which weight you're at, and then you come in again and do a weigh-in after Halloween. If you've gone under anything, if you've still lost weight, you don't have to pay anything. And then you get put in for prizes. Then after Thanksgiving, same thing, it just keeps on repeating. If you do gain weight, you have to pay $5. So it's like, I don't want to give you $5, so I'm doing that part. So it's keeping you accountable. Just like a lot of times where a lot of weight loss is keeping yourself accountable. Not going on social media and say, I will lose this many pounds before this, because then social media will eat you alive. And you're like, how's it going? Have you lost it? You're like, shut up, you hecklers, I'm trying to better myself. I thought about doing that one. I'm learning from experience. That's what happened once. I was like, all right, I'm keeping it to myself. You guys are mean. Then the same thing after Christmas. And that's really hard, because we think about, even if you don't have any kids, even if you're giving candy to the kids in your neighborhood, you buy candy for them, now you have candy in the house. Now you have something wise. You're like, oh, they didn't eat all that candy. I guess I'm going to have to. Or you're chasing down that last trick-or-treater. Take it all, take it all. And they're like, no, that person's crazy. Then Thanksgiving comes, and that's hard, especially if you're going to multiple families. Christmas, for me, we go up to Minnesota. That's where my wife's in-laws are at, and I hate it. It's cold, so I never want to go outside, but they have tons of food, so I either got to keep on, either hide in the one room and be antisocial, or stay out there and try not to eat food. So it takes your time. So that's one of the challenges. They don't have all the prizes yet. I told my boss, I'm like, hey, you need to get the prize out. Prizes are what motivate people. Yeah, find out what that is. So she's like, we'll come up with something. I'm like, okay. Last little bit of shameless plugs. The ICC Fitness Center, we're having some specials. We're going to be running a fall faculty and staff personal training special starting October 15th, running to November 15th. We're offering 4 45-minute sessions for $110, which is not bad. Normally it would be $25 an hour to work with any of our personal trainers. Also, since it's 45-minute sessions, doesn't mean you have to do that all in one session. For me and all my clients, if they buy that package, or most of the time it's 5 for whatever amount, then you have 225 minutes. That's your pool. So I'll be like, hey, if you have time to work even 15 minutes or 30 minutes, we'll slot you in for this. We get our 30-minute workout, and now you take that away from your pool. So you don't have to say, I can't do 45 minutes at one time and sitting. We're all busy. So you can break it up. Smoothie specials, Darcy wanted me to say this one. She's one of my other bosses. Fruity greens and kale in it. They're actually not that bad. They taste like a fruit smoothie. She's like, make sure that you say that it has kale and butternut squash in it. I'm like, that's not a selling point for some people. But it does taste good. It really does. And if not, once again, you know where I live. I'm either up there doing my homework or helping people, so I don't want to be chased down. They have a great source of antioxidants, and it's $3.50 for 20 ounces. It's pretty good. Most of the time it's $5. And then the calorie count for fruity greens is 330 calories. And kaling it is 370 calories, little to no fat. These are those points when we talk about meal replacement shakes, especially ones for breakfast. Anywhere from 300, 350 to about 500 calories is pretty good for a decent breakfast. First, it's better than nothing, and you're starting, because we're working those calories during the day. So in summary, have a plan, use a calorie counter or food log, stay active any way you can, walk the dog, walk your neighbor's dog, walk somebody else, just hang out, go have fun, have a family member help you be accountable, and then also, which I'll send you guys this I'll give you my card, or you can even write your email on a piece of paper if you'd prefer that. Once again, I promise I won't send more things at you, and I can send you a reminder to watch this, and they just talk about, it's a TED Talk. I don't know if you're familiar with TED Talks. They have really good information. It's something you can listen to in the background, and we'll go through one ear, out the other, then something you hear, and you're like, oh, I like that. You can rewind and go back and figure it out. Questions? Sure.
On the personal training, do we get to pick out a trainer? Or
Oh yeah. It's not. They would not. They're so no. It's not like I would like a personal trainer. They send you whatever one. You're like, you get Darcy. You're like, I don't want Darcy. Or I get Spencer. I don't want Spencer. I want Darcy. No, you get to pick whoever you want, and then we talk about whatever times you want. You come in there, and it's specifically up to you. Because there's some people, and honestly, that's what I love about the fitness center is that we're not. Because honestly, I don't get paid unless I'm training someone or I'm teaching a class. Whenever I'm there, I'm just being free advertisement, doing homework, or sometimes working out, which is fine with me. So that part makes it not cutthroat really, because if someone, I'm like, you'd be a better fit for Darcy, you should go talk to Darcy, some other stuff. I would literally say that, because Darcy knows other things that I don't know, or I'm like, Evan would really help you out, he'd be better. We were pretty much easy about finding someone that fits for you. And I'm not just saying that to be like, come on, it's really true. Because other places they're like, you don't want to work with that person. And it's horrible, it's bad. But all in all, and if you, oh, sorry, were there any other questions? Okay. But all in all, have fun, enjoy the holidays. Anything that you do is not going to set you back that far. And just be mindful, and if that's really what your goal that you want to do, that'll help all. Let's say you don't want to be like, well, this year we're really cutting back, so instead of turkey, we're having faux tofu turkey. Everyone's never going to come to your house again, and you're not going to get any Christmas presents. So it's about having fun, enjoying the holidays, and then you can come back and work on things. So don't stress about it too much. And I think that's it. Thank you.